Hello scholars, this is Mr. Jimenez, and today we'll be doing a guided lab about solubility. Now if you remember correctly, solubility refers to if something dissolves or it doesn't. So if I say, for example, something is soluble, I mean that it dissolves, okay? If something is not soluble, it does not dissolve. So what we're going to be doing today is we're going to be testing this theory. We're going to see if some items are soluble and if some items are not soluble. So let's get started. We're going to start off with a cork. Now, if you watch my previous video, you know that cork is a type of wood, right? It's used to stop bottles, to stop test tubes, to basically stop liquid from coming out. We want to observe what happens when we place this in the water. We're going to see if this cork dissolves and is soluble, or if it doesn't dissolve and is not soluble. So let's see. I place the cork in the water. What do you observe? I observe that the cork did not dissolve. It's still in the water. I can still take it out because it did not dissolve. Therefore, the cork is not soluble. Go ahead and write that down and check it off in your assignment. It is not soluble. Let's try another object. We're going to try this iron washer. So we're going to see what happens when I place this iron washer in the water. Will it dissolve and be soluble, or will it not dissolve and be not soluble? Let's see. Ready, 1, 2, 3, boop. Now, you might be like, Mr. Jimenez, I can't see it. Did it dissolve? Well, let's see. I'm going to reach in and see if it did dissolve or not. Can I grab it? Oh, can you see it now? There it is. So is this soluble or not soluble? You're right. This is not soluble because it did not dissolve. I'm going to show you a couple more examples, and I want you to decide if they're soluble or not soluble. Remember, when you decide to go back to your assignment and check or fill in the bubble that is correctly describing the object. All right, let's try our next object. Our next object is an eraser. Is this soluble or not soluble? Let's find out. Ready, 1, 2, 3, boop. Can you still see it? Is it still in there? You're right. It didn't change when we put it in the water. So is it soluble or not soluble? Write it down in your notes. Moving on. Next we have a sugar cube. This is just sugar in a cube. Simple as that. We're going to place it in the water and watch what happens. Now, I am going to put a black background so you can see a little bit better what exactly is happening. So I'm dropping it in the water. Notice how it's the shape of a cube. Drop it in the water. Let's see what happens. I notice that the sugar cube is changing. Why would it be changing? Let's see. Let's see what happens when I try and grab it. It fell apart. Oh, it's still falling apart. Look at that. Let's see. Can you still see the cube? Because I can't. So does that mean it dissolved or it didn't dissolve? I think it dissolved. So is it soluble or not soluble? Write it down in your notes. Next object we're going to use is a cotton ball. Ooh, I dropped my cotton ball. Let me grab it. All right, I got it. We're back. So, cotton ball. I wonder if this will dissolve or not dissolve. Let's see. Ready, 1, 2, 3, boom. It's going down. But can you still see it? Let's see. I can still see it. I don't think it dissolved. So is that soluble or not soluble? Write it down. Next object we're going to test is a piece of wood. This is pine. It's a type of tree. We're going to see if this dissolves or doesn't dissolve. Let's see. Ready, 1, 2, 3, boom. Did this dissolve or did it not dissolve? I can still see it, so that means it did not dissolve. So, is that soluble or not soluble? Awesome job. We're going to try a couple more materials. We're going to try this marble. This marble is made out of glass. Let's see if it dissolves. Ready, 1, 2, 3, boom. Oop, you can't see it because of the glare. Actually, no, you can't see it because of the cotton ball. So let me move it out of the way. So, is our marble soluble? Let's see. I can still see it. Can you see it? You're right, it's right there. That means it did not dissolve. So, is this soluble or not soluble? Make sure you're using the correct vocabulary. Remember, if something is soluble, it does dissolve and you cannot see it. If it is not soluble, it does not dissolve and you can see it. So for example, this cork is not soluble because it does not dissolve and I can still see it. All right, let's keep going. We got a couple more. Next, we're gonna try a ping pong ball. Let's see what happens when I put it in. Ready, 1, 2, 3, boop. It's still there. It did not dissolve. So what word would you use to describe that? Is it soluble or not soluble? Answer it in your notes. Moving on. Next, we're gonna try some liquids. And so this doesn't get messy, I'm gonna go ahead and take these out. So give me just a couple seconds. Because the next material we're gonna try is oil. In specific, we're gonna use vegetable oil. So the kind of oil that maybe your mom or your dad or your grandma or whoever it is you live with, or your aunt, what they cook with, right? This yellow stuff. Let's see what happens. So believe it or not, some liquids can dissolve, right? Some liquids can't. So that's what we're gonna test today. Let's see. Ready, I'm gonna pour, let's see, a lot. Let's do, what do you notice is happening? I'm gonna stand behind here so you can see a little bit better. If you notice, there's little bubbles forming in the oil. I'm sorry, in the water. Now I'm actually gonna move my computer screen so you can see a little bit better. Notice how the oil does not mix with the water. And you might be like, Mr. Jimenez, maybe you need to mix it. So let's try it, let's mix it. Let me go get a pencil. I'll be right back. Boom, 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 boom. I'm coming. I'm trying to go fast as I can. As fast as I can. Almost there. In 5, in 4, in 3, in 2. Boom. I made it back. So, I got my pencil. Let's mix it. Let's see what happens. Boom, boom, boom. And I'll be honest, I can still see it forming on the top. I don't think it's mixing. Let's see if that's true. You see it there? It looks the same. So, the oil did not dissolve. It does not mix. So, what word can you use to describe the oil? Is the oil soluble or not soluble? And then we're going to try 2 more substances. The first substance we're going to use is salt. So I'm just going to pour it in there, see what happens. Boom, 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 boom. Let me mix it a little bit. Boom, 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 boom. Oh my goodness. Guess what, guys? I cannot see the salt in there anymore. I'm pretty sure the salt dissolved. So what would you call that? Is the salt soluble or not soluble? If it did dissolve, because I cannot see it anymore. What do you call that? Remember, if something is soluble, it does dissolve. If it is not soluble, it does not dissolve. And then last but not least, we're gonna try sand. So I've got my cute little beaker here. I love it, it's so cute. And we're gonna just drop it in, see what happens. Ready, 1, 2, 3, boom. Ooh, I could see a lot of sand still in there. So if you didn't know, sand is made up of just tiny rocks and seashells. So rocks don't dissolve, right? So sand doesn't dissolve. And I can still see it perfectly in there. So is the sand soluble or not soluble if I can still see it in there? It did not dissolve. What do you think? Write it down in your assignment. And that's pretty much all I have for you today. So I hope you enjoyed this demonstration. Make sure that you finish your assignment on Microsoft Forms and that you submit it. All right? I will talk to you later. Thank you so much for watching the video, and I hope you have a great day. Bye, guys.